Hello. Thank you for listening. This is the near death experience of Dawn. Open quote. Into the hereafter. June 23rd, 1979 began like any other traveling day. I was in St. Louis enjoying the last of my leave time before reporting to the 101st at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I always wore a helmet while in Missouri, but once I cleared the JB Bridge, I pulled over, took the helmet off, and put headphones on. Even then, I felt a bit uneasy. Couldn't explain it at the time. At Murfreesboro, too, I was cut off by a teenage driver and broadsided the car. Yep, I saw myself laying in the street, kind of like looking down while up in a tree. Thing was, I was moving up and away from the crash scene. I remember thinking, I need to keep track so I can find my way back. Still moving away, the earth was getting smaller and smaller until it and the sun were specks in a sea of a million other specks. Next thing I can remember is thinking, where am I going? As my soul turned to check my progress, I had a sense of profound peace and tranquility like nothing I'd ever felt before. I remember shadowy silhouettes around me and sensed that the world would be okay without me. I was forgiven for my sins and love. Again, I felt the presence and was given a choice to be with God or return to my body so I could be there for my daughter. That was a kind of no brainer. I responded, be there for my daughter, and immediately came to while being given mouth to mouth in the street. Somewhere along the way, I was asked what my name was and I couldn't remember. The person asking said, you probably won't remember anything about this incident. I prayed long and hard to be allowed to keep that memory. There was another instance in the hospital before I was medevaced to Denver. Again, I left my body, moved through the walls and ceiling, but don't remember another trip to the afterlife. I've told this story dozens of times over the years. About 50% don't believe me, and 50% that do believe me. And for them, I hope it gives them some peace after the loss of a loved one. Normally, these folks are tearing up. The non believers usually say, it was a head injury and you were hallucinating. I could believe that, but remember in the opening paragraph I said I normally took my helmet off in Illinois? I did just that. As I rode south on Route 3, I like to say my guardian angel was kicking me on the head and shoulders. The closer to Murfreesboro 1 I got, the worse it got. There was a roadside park right after I turned off of 3 onto 149. So I stopped, smoked a cigarette, and checked the bike. Couldn't find anything wrong, so I got back on the road. A mile from town, the feeling was so strong, I reached back, got my helmet off of the backrest, and put it on. A quarter mile out, I had it snapped on. There was a gas station at the edge of town that I had gotten gas at before. I'm sure I was checking to see if it was crowded. I had just enough warning to brace myself. The foot pegs and the handlebars were bent forward, and I know I put my right side into the car much like a block in football. By the way, remember that presence that gave me a choice to be with God or be there for my daughter? Well, Shirley was pregnant, but we didn't know it was going to be a girl. And to validate that choice, Misty was birthed. The folks in the delivery cleaned her up. I got to cut the umbilical cord, and then she was handed to me to put on the scale. As I bent to put her on the scale, her eyes opened wide. She smiled at me and gave me a coo, as if to say, good choice, Dad. So there are two solid pieces of evidence here that cemented my belief that God was on my side that day. Putting that helmet on where I normally didn't wear one, and being there for Misty. Bear in mind the odds of that incident happening with all of the variables. Number one, leaving St. Louis at the time I did. Number two, the first stop to remove my helmet and that feeling of foreboding. Number three, the second stop to check the bike. Number four, putting the helmet on when I did. Factor in speed, traffic, weather, etc. Divine intervention, question mark, end quote. That was a pretty good story. Thank you for listening.